Greetings, everybody. It's Jim. Hey, if you don't have a spare $50 right now, do not watch this video. Okay, I'm about to show you a bargain, and it's going to be hard not to hit the click button. I'm kidding you not. Okay, so the thing is, a few months ago, I did a video called a fantasy trip score. And by the way, this has nothing necessarily to do with the fantasy trip. What I'm about to show you, you can use it for D&D, you could use it for Fate, you could use it for all kinds of things. It's just that people who play the fantasy trip will have a definite eye looking at this product that I'm about to show you today. But anyway, I did a video called a fantasy trip score where I go over a supplement called the Force Lords of Dahad and the Warrior Lords of Darak. And they were two supplements for the fantasy trip, but then there were supposed to be another two, but metagaming folded. And when that happened, they still had all these great ideas, the two authors, Carrie Lloyd and Richard Mayer. Okay, so they went ahead and made Within the Tyrant's Demesne and City of the Sacred Flame, and it's kind of a generic module, but they also use, they had used their new system that they came out with. I'm not promoting the system, by the way. I'm not promoting a system. I have nothing bad to say about it or good to say about it. I am saying that what these supplements that I'm showing you today is all about utility and the adventures that are within them. It is amazing, just like I like the Force Lords of Dahad and all that. This just opened up from 4 books to another 10 books because they are written by the same guys. And for all intents and purposes, the reason I bought Within the Tyrant's Demesne and City of the Sacred Flame is because I'm like, for all intents and purposes, those would have been the fantasy trip modules. So would have these. I have no doubt about it. And so today, let's just get right to it. I'm going to be talking to you about why you should be using Thieves Guild from Game Lords. Now, the first thought in my mind is, I know that they could make their own system, but did they have to? What really prodded this along? Was it simply because they had this idea and they wanted to go forward with it? It's possible. But also, something in me thinks that, that experience with what happened when metagaming went under, they put a lot of work into those 2 supplements that they came out with. It's got to be heartbreaking to know that now that metagaming's gone, and that means the fantasy trip is gone, that the stuff you worked on is now gone. Right? Nobody's reading it. Nobody knows it. All that hard work, and they're like, look, we got to be the captain of our own vessel here. And that's why they might not even have worked for TSR. Maybe they could have, but they were probably, I can definitely see them saying, you know what? We just want to make sure that fate is in our hands and not even TSR can tell us what to do and what not to do. Right? So capitalism for the win, right? So anyway, now the thing is about Thieves Guild is you can't even get the main box set anymore unless you go on eBay and are willing to spend up to $100+ on it. Now I said I got a bargain for you for $50. Well, that's right, because these are the things I really want you to have. It's not the system, it's these books, the supplement books that came thereafter. $50, and you can get all of these from Different World Publishing and free shipping. Okay, I'm not kidding you. Now, why are these books so grand? Now, the main reason I'm showing you this is because the meat and potatoes in all of these are the adventures. There's 3 to 4 in each book, okay? And they're packed with detail. If you've read any Game Lord stuff, you already know what I'm talking about a little bit. But here, they've even got them categorized. Bandit scenarios and highwayman adventures, cat burglary scenarios and second story adventures, armed robbery scenarios and pursuit adventures, temple looting scenarios and tomb robbing adventures, pickpocketing scenarios and cut purse adventures, assassin scenarios and espionage adventures, freebooting scenarios and ship encounters for piracy, and rescue scenarios and abduction adventures. Now, the thing is, there's so many in there that you would say, okay, that's like any party could do, like temple looting, and tomb robbing. So many adventures from any scale for fantasy have been done in that name. But how many have you done that's armed robbery, a whole scenario based around it? Or cat burglary? When's the last time you had a thief and you did something, then used pickpocket once in months of play? Quite honestly, this would be all about it. That's kind of cool. I especially like the idea of the armed robbery and the bandit scenarios and highwayman scenarios. That just throws everything on its head a little bit. And what I also like is the idea of you really don't have to do any heavy conversion in these. Yeah, you could say, oh, I got to convert their stats for their characters from Thieves Guild. That's not true. And the reason is because basically this is all human interaction with very few exceptions. I have not seen any monsters yet. And like I said before, Thieves Guild 2, the cover, makes me suspect that you might see at least some skeletons. But the thing is, everything is so basic. It's like if you meet in the captain of the garden, there are 2 lackeys, Well, you know how to write up a thief, a captain of the guard, and two lackeys for your game, right? So you already know how to do that. So that's not even a bother. It's when you get into tougher monsters and weird monsters that you got to kind of worry about the balance. But just making human characters up against each other, any system can do that. So it's a real ease for the game master to use these books. Now, once you got your fill of meat and potatoes by going through the adventures, you will still find some sweet spots for dessert if you look through it a little bit. Like I said before, the first few pages are just more rules for the Thieves Guild game, which you can generally discard and not worry about. But there are some cool ideas that you may want to implement. For instance, Thieves Guild 6 is all about ships and pirates. And making your own ships. Now, for a lot of this would be thrown away because it's just an overwieldy system. I don't think anybody would use it nowadays. But at the same time, there are some ideas that you might actually like about how ships chase each other and such. And there are, of course, adventures in it, so it's worth getting anyway. But there are some things like being in pursuit, or pursuing somebody, or if you're a thief running away, how to do long pursuit rules, things of that nature. And there's just all kinds of little things that you might not have rules for in the system you use, or might motivate you to make up your own. Now, what I really like about Thieves Guild is it really does a good job of promoting the idea that you don't have to be a thief necessarily to play in these adventures. Okay, you just have to have the thieves' heart. You have to have that shade of gray, right? And if you're a little bit cold-blooded, all the better. Okay, now granted, if you're doing a tomb raiding scenario or you're doing some second-story burglary, yeah, your regular set of thieves skills will do you just fine. However, you could be just a sellsword. You're not asking questions. You're just there to do a job. You don't know if you're the good guy or the bad guy. You're just there for the silver. Or in the case of the Duke's dress ball, here's when you're supposed to infiltrate. Who says that you have to necessarily be coming down on the rafters from a grappling hook? You could very well be a wizard with the power of illusion to get you through that adventure. And of course, then there's some utility. Like I said, there's tons of utility in these. Bandit gangs and caravans is probably the best example. Like I said, the first few pages are usually added pages to go into the Thieves Guild game itself, which you can discard unless you start using the game. If you can get your hands on the box set. But basically, in this one, it's very generic. It just teaches you how to make a bandit gang and caravan, and you can put your characters on either side of that foray. You can make them part of the gang, make them part of the caravan, or you can just have them for your party to meet. It doesn't matter. And the thing is about all these, yeah, a lot of all the characters are going to have Thieves Guild World stats, but again, since there's no monsters, there's no conversion necessary. Why do I say that? Because if you're an expert at your game already, especially if you're a gamer for the fantasy trip, getting an idea of who's who and what's what, and what, they'll tell you what they have as far as weapons and how skilled they are. You'll get an idea by the numbers what they'll mean for you. You don't have to go through a complete rendition of anything like that. If you got a guy that's a captain of the guard and here's his lackeys, you probably already got 20 other captains of the guard and lackeys and other scenarios that you can just say, okay, I get who these people are supposed to be. So you don't have to worry about conversion. Like I said, I have not seen any monsters in here. So those would be the harder part to convert. But I have not seen many in here. I'm suspecting that one book does have them though. But anyway, guys, these books are just a little over $5 a piece. I kid you not. You could find these on eBay for $15 to $20 somebody is selling them for. But if they knew, and I'm telling you right now, they are at Different Worlds Publishing. The link is down below, Different Worlds, and you can get them for like $6 a piece or something like that. And once you get over 50 bucks, you're getting free shipping. So this whole set of information that, by the way, Fantasy Trip players, again, is written by Carrie Lloyd and Rich Mayer for the most part. There's other people in here too, but they are the same guys that wrote for the Fantasy Trip. A lot of this information could have very well have been that. So if you are into Fantasy Trip, I'm highly suggesting these to you, but I'm really suggesting it to everybody. Guys, this is a bargain. I'm sorry to take that 50 bucks out of your pocket today, but you're going to love it. It's going to be well worth it, and I'll see you next video.